Hey YouTube, this is the Art of Prepping. Hey, I have something I want to share to you that happened to me last fall of 2015. I was almost in this very spot here, and I was looking out here. There's a little bit of a drop off. I'm not sure if you can tell here. Roughly maybe an 8 to 9 foot drop off, roughly, and then it goes down, and the movement of the earth kind of this particular area goes down. So, so this is kind of like going toward a road way over here, and there's other people way over. Anyways, I'm in a pretty it's not, I wouldn't say like in an insanely rural area, but there's not a lot of people around. So I'm over here looking. I was just chilling, really, looking into the woods. Of course, this is fall of 2015. The leaves were kind of coming down. It wasn't as dense as this. You could see, you could penetrate probably another 40 to 50% deeper into the woods here. And of course, this is not like real thick woods. As you can tell, the trees aren't like really big. Now there's some over here to the right. They're monstrous. I mean, probably well over 100 years old. But this, for some reason, these are just smaller trees. I kind of wonder, because of the water flow through this little area right here, I wonder if it keeps the roots a little unstable, maybe long term, and then they kind of fall over or rot. I don't know, but this right here is not like it's a lot of old growth. It's possible too that there could have been people who harvested the real big trees many years before I came here. But anyways, the whole point though is about right here. I was looking straight, and I kid you not, something was tearing through the woods. Now I'm very familiar with deer. I'm familiar with elk. I'm familiar with bear, coyote, very familiar with wolves, and definitely with coyotes. And I can tell you it was none of those. And I don't know what else to think of it could be. It definitely wasn't any bird. It had a gait to it. It was definitely on 2 feet, and it was moving. I mean, it was trucking. And just from my perception here, it really did look like it was about between 8 and 9 feet, roughly. I mean, it's just an estimate, and it was really more of a silhouette that I saw, because the sun was about an hour away from setting, so it wasn't really that great of a lit area there. It was kind of a little dingy, but it was tearing through, and it had some movement. I got almost about 10 seconds of really a good shot, with the silhouette, and it was all dark. It had almost like I don't know what else to compare it to, but almost no neck, kind of like it looked a little bit more like a gorilla profile, like a side profile, tearing through, going toward the road. And I was like, oh my gosh. Now there's a field outside on the other side of that road, and you would be able to see something like that big. Because I mean, I'm saying that this seriously was between close to like maybe 400 to 500. I know it's a little bit of a range there, but I just couldn't see the entire body. It was more of the waist down for a few seconds, and then the upper portion. So it wasn't like all in sequence. I couldn't see like the entire profile at once, but I saw parts of it to put it together. And so I rushed over. It took me a few minutes to get over to the road, because it's not that like it's like right here. I have to go down a long driveway, and it's like, man, I saw nothing. Now it could have cut left and went through the woods there, but eventually that comes out and there's an open area. So I really don't know where it went, guys. And I don't even really know what it was. I mean, unless it was just some insanely different looking, maybe a very, very mature elk, or maybe a bull, like a bull deer that I maybe just caught it at a weird angle cutting through. But I just don't think, because the gait was going and it was upright, and there wasn't like this longer elongated body. It was just like an upright type of gorilla. And so I don't know what else to tell you. I'm not sure if you've seen this when you've been out in the woods. I mean, when you talk to more people, like I have over the decades, about in the woods, people who really stay in the woods. And like I've been spending a lot more time in the woods. Sometimes like most of my day, or at least half the day, to be honest with you. Half the day I could be in the woods. Almost every day, half the day. And so that's considerable. The average person probably does not even come close to that kind of time in the woods. But let me tell you guys, though, this is craziness, because I can't put it in my lexicon. You know how you don't have like a picture for that in your head? When you try to go through the dictionary, and you have this little picture of what that's supposed to be when you see something. There is no word for it. Only thing I can even come close to is Sasquatch or Bigfoot. But I say that and I feel like I'm risking, my sanity. But hey, man, what's to say that there isn't a species that's just maybe a small in population that their most coveted skill is stealth and movement and to avoid detection? I don't know, but what I do know is I saw something that I couldn't understand. And if you've been out in the woods like I have, and maybe people that people see this too. And I've only had this one sighting, so I don't know. I kind of didn't even really care to see this because it made me feel kind of uncomfortable. At the moment, though, I was really like one of the few times that I was really close to the house, but I was like, I actually found myself unarmed. I was like, oh no, whoa. So that moment that I really noticed that, then I went to the house and armed up like you wouldn't believe. I could have been Rambo for all you knew, and come back out real quick to see if I could identify what it was. Just because, it kind of, I wasn't saying that it was trying to be threatening, but just because of the enormity of it, just like, they talk about moose when they're in the breeding season, or if they're into, I guess, would you consider their musk or whatever that technical name for that, the moose, I should know that, but I'll try to find it out. But the whole thing about the moose, it can be very dangerous. It's one of the most dangerous animals in North America. And so it's just like, when you see something that big, I really don't think it was a moose. Definitely, that's not, I don't think it was, just because of the profile. But yeah, what do you guys think about this? I'm rambling a little more now, so I'm going to cut this video off. But yeah, sometimes you just see things in the woods. I pretty much have been always able to identify pretty much anything I've seen my whole life. And if I couldn't at the moment, I could look it up and go, oh, okay, that's what I saw. I've seen great horned owls literally over 3 feet in stature. And sometimes I would walk up to them on accident within a few feet. Like, for example, it was like middle of last year, I was in the woods on my own property, and there was a great horned owl. I'd say getting close to 3.5 feet tall, no joke. Massive talons, massive face and eyes. He turned his head all the way around and looked away from me because there was something moving behind him. I think it was just a squirrel or maybe a chipmunk. And then he turned his head all the way back around and looked at me. And I got within around 10 feet. No joke, 10 freaking feet. And it was almost at my eye level. In fact, I think it was only maybe like 6 to 8 inches, a little bit higher from my eye level. And it just simply opened its wings, because I was being non-threatening. I was just kind of keeping a low profile, keeping my arms down, being small in profile, and not making any noise, and just kind of there, not trying to stare at it, but just kind of doing some glances from time to time, because I was looking at it for almost 2 minutes. And then all of a sudden, he just opened up his wings with almost no effort, and did one whoosh and a half of another. And he was probably about maybe 40 feet in the air already. And he went up on a higher limb and just sat there for a little while and then flew off about 10 minutes later. I was like, wow. I do kind of live somewhat relatively close to a wildlife preserve that they release animals. So, I'm not saying this couldn't have been just something in the wild that does live there. Obviously, it could. I wouldn't be that surprised. You typically just see barn owls and stuff out here, but that was just magnificent. And so I'm sure they do exist, obviously, in this area in many parts of the United States, but when you see one that close and not in a zoo or some kind of wildlife preserve, you do have some great respect, because he was out there hunting. He or she was hunting for probably mice or other kind of squirrels. It was very, very large. And, it could really jack you up. Of course, they're not really threatening to humans. They didn't have any kind of interest on hurting me at all, and I would never want to hurt that kind of animal. Beautiful animal, So, what do you think about Bigfoot? That's the whole question about this. This is my whole, interjection. I'm not trying to change this channel into a Bigfoot channel, but man, this is startling things. I've been chewing on it since last fall, and I've been trying to really understand what it was. I think I may have only told one neighbor and a few family members and one friend maybe, and that's maybe 2 friends, and that's about it. Because, you kind of feel a little bit weird about it. You're like, man, what's wrong with me? I can't identify what I just saw. I've been trying to get better and better identifying trees and plants and stuff. And then you have this creature, and you should man, there's only so many creatures. There's a lot less creatures than trees and plants. So why can't I identify it? Anyways, you guys be safe. If you see Bigfoot, get a picture and send it to me and see if I can't, match it up with my memory and see if I saw that too. But if you've had any experiences as well, feel free to put them in the comments below or do a video response. And I would really appreciate that. It's just fascinating stuff. I know there's a lot of people who see this kind of stuff, and there's all kind of variations. Some of Bigfoots are aggressive. Some of them are very, mild, and they don't want to have nothing to do with them. Some of them, said that there's actually territorial, and they'll try to scare you off, especially like in deep mountainous areas. I think a lot of reports come from Washington State. I hear a lot of reports over there, and so that's definitely interesting. I think it's a beautiful area in Washington State. And heck, maybe I even have something to do with that state. You never know, but it's just one of those things, though. You kind of just want to. You want to try to figure things out. And so with that, you guys take care. We'll talk to you real soon.